It's Tuesday, September 23rd, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network presented by FanDuel. I'm going to be your host today, Jace Cooper, alongside my great producer, Jacob Gramegna. It's going to be a great show for you today. We're going to run down the show quickly, but before we do, I got to bring this up, and I'm going to grill him a little bit on air. We were worried Flupp might not come on today. The rundown is as follows: Flupp, Kirk, and Rob. And I messaged Flupp earlier this morning, as I do with every single guest. And he's nowhere to be found. The last seen 5 hours ago on Telegram. He messaged me at 11:48 saying, "I'm good. I was sleeping in." Brother, it's almost noon. We need to talk about this sleep schedule.
Must be nice.
It must be nice. It must be nice. Anyways.
I was up at 7 buying groceries, been working since 9.
You know what?
Just waking up.
You had a productive day. Me, not so much. I was just working. Wish I got grocery run in. Didn't have time. But anyways, back to the rundown on the show. Flupp, as normal, if he shows up, every Tuesday he's here to talk about futures. We're going to recap what he gave out last week. Some pretty good stuff there. Some pretty good, not CLV, but good market move towards his favor. The week was good for him in terms of his future portfolio. And then we're going to talk about some more futures this week. Kirk is going to come on, going to atone for his sins, giving out the New York Liberty, which was, I have some futures that I combined with the New York Liberty, including the Cavs, and those are going to sit in my account until I see the Cavs either win or lose. That's how it works for.
Oh, you parlayed them.
Parlayed them, yeah. I didn't want to tie up that much money.
Did he actually say to bet them, or did he say did he say don't bet them?
No. Wait for the. What's her name? Wait for that player to get ruled in.
Brianna Stewart?
Yes. Wait for Brianna Stewart to get ruled in. And then bet them. And I was like, you know what? He gave out the Cavs too. I like the Cavs price. Cavs look good. Let's just parlay them together. Don't want to tie up less money long term and get a little bit more value, right? So did that, and he's going to have to atone for his sins. Anyways, we're going to talk WNBA today. Maybe he's got a little bit of Cinderella fever. Talk some NBA MVP discussions. A couple dark horses on the board, and I want to throw darts at. I'm curious to hear his opinion on. Then finally, Rob's going to come on as he normally does. Market forecast heading into week 4. Oof. Can't believe it's already week 4 of the NFL.
I know. When I was doing some of the graphics and stuff for today, I was like, "Oh my God, it's already 4th week."
We're already a month
by,
through.
Man.
It's crazy. It's crazy. As always, appreciate all your messages in the chat. Mark, I see you. We should telling people to join the Discord. I agree. It's pretty good. Mike Vivian. Maybe we can get him on. I got to talk to him right about getting Mike on the show one day because he's hilarious. Great Twitter guy. Good market movement on Flupp's Cowboys NFC East plays. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's the one that didn't look too hot. The other ones, though, looked pretty good. Yeah, Connor cannot believe we're 1/6 of the way through the season. Going to bring up Flupp here in a sec. Going to talk to him about his sleep schedule. But before we talk to Flupp about his sleep schedule, I just want to quickly give a shout out to BetStamp because BetStamp now has a pro tool that's available for you. 14-day free trial. If you're betting without a pro-grade odds screen, you're already behind. BetStamp Pro is the odds screen trusted by pros to move first and win at scale. And for the first time, you can unlock standalone main market screen without the full props package. Just $99 a month when billed annually. Built for speed, built for precision. BetStamp Pro tracks over 150 sportsbook using including offshores, exchanges, and PPHs that other odds screens tend to miss. And as a Hammer listener, you're not just going to get the standard 7-day trial. You're unlocking a full 14-day trial to put it to the test. Don't wait. Claim your free trial today by scanning the QR code or hitting that link in the description, betstamp.com/trial in the description. And yeah, you're probably going to want that when we talk some market moves later today with Rob, because maybe you can keep an eye on some things and you always want to be first. You always want to be on screen, first to bet. And BetStamp Pro can help you with that, especially their main market screen there. All right. Let's get into the show today. One's in the chat. Actually, maybe Z emojis in the chat. ZZZ for Flupp because he's EP today. He is a one-time contest winner. He's a regular on the Circle Back Friday show, and he's awake. So, Flupp, how's it going?
It's going good. Yes, I did sleep pretty late. I'm sorry to keep you panicked.
No, you're good. You're good. I was more worried about you than anything else. Just wanted to make sure that you were safe and okay. It's good to know that you were asleep because now I can make fun of you for it. Your hair looks good today. Last week, not so much. Maybe you got to sleep in more and get that. Like that's the key.
Well,
to
I got a haircut. That's what happened. I was too bullied by the chat, and I wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure that they don't attack me anymore. And I want to also point out that Mike Vivian, the Cowboys had some good movement. He's correct. This just gives you a better entry price. You can now get them at 16-1 at FanDuel, but unfortunately, I don't make them a good price anymore. So I wouldn't be. I think the loss of CeeDee Lamb and other injuries is too much.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's fair enough. And also with the CeeDee Lamb injuries, I said this kind of preseason, which is why I was kind of low on the Cowboys. If they ever suffer an injury, this defense is so weak, their team is so weak that like if Dak, CeeDee Lamb, even George Pickens, if one of those guys get hurt, they'll likely leave them out longer than people expect, just to be safe with them, right? Because they're probably not going to win this year. So chat's going crazy right now. Colt saying hair is unbelievable. You look like Tom Cruise. Cool. So there you go. Showered, shaved, hair looking great. All from Connor. Let's dive into futures this week. Before we do that, let's recap last week. Getting a little bit of flack for the Dallas division. The Dallas division plus 850 moved 16-1, like you mentioned there. Dallas to win the conference, 35-1, now 45-1. Little thumbs down there, but a couple other ones that look pretty decent, starting with Pittsburgh, which was the smallest move of all of them. Pittsburgh to win their conference, 35 to win the AFC, 35-1, now 30-1. How do you feel about that
one? Not good, to be honest with you. My price got a little longer, so I'm not really thrilled with it. I know the market is reacting to the Ravens' loss, but I just downgraded the Steelers, so I don't think the price is good anymore. I would not be tailing, even if you can get 35-1 anymore.
Yeah. All right. You also mentioned Cincinnati under 7.5 wins. I think I wrote this down wrong, but I have them that the price. I think they went down a full win. They're now at plus 155, so that one looks pretty good. Chargers, Go ahead.
So again, I wouldn't actually tail Bengals now because I think the market has reacted too aggressively to the move. But if you got it last, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, I agree with that. Then two more that we have is the Chargers to win the division plus 105. For them to win the AFC plus 800. That moved minus 155 plus 700, respectively. And then also, this one was really good. I liked it. I kind of made fun of you for it. Colts to win the division plus 140. Jags look like poop. Texans look even worse. No real competition in that division. Still like them at minus 140?
Colts?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's very thin. I wouldn't bet it. I only make the fair minus 158. So I mean, I don't like to bet things that thin if I'm locking up the money. Really the only division bet that's making me super excited right now is the Chargers at minus 155. I make them very, very big favorites, minus 286.
Wow.
And most of this is to do with I haven't been impressed with the Chiefs and I've downgraded them more. I now would actually make the Chargers slightly favored on neutral field. Wow. And I think the Chargers are for real. I know they got a scary win, but Greg Roman is actually letting Herbert throw the ball. Herbert looks like an MVP candidate. And I just think they're the best team in the division, and they have a two-win advantage over the Chiefs. So I would back them a lot there. And then I'm guessing and if I look at their conferences, I actually show massive value on their conferences as well. Chargers 7-1. I love that. I believe I gave it out last week, but I still stand by it.
Yeah, you had them at 8-1 last week, it's a great price here, especially with Baltimore picking up a loss. The only thing that I'm worried about is this Buffalo Bills team looks pretty good. Might go undefeated, and then we'll see how the playoffs shake out. Maybe they'll have a favorable draw, but hey, who knows? Maybe the Chargers are able to get on. If Kansas City doesn't play that well this season, and Baltimore maybe takes a little bit of a tumble, the Chargers could get a favorable path to the conference championship. So we'll see how that one works out.
Yeah, I mean, and then also the Chiefs. Look, they've got to play the Ravens, then at the Jaguars, and home versus the Lions. The next two to three games, they might be underdogs versus the Lions. I think they'd probably be a slight favorite, but it's not an easy schedule. They could easily be 2-4, and then the next couple, or 2-5. I mean, it's kind of brutal.
Very, very tough schedule. And again, like we talked about yesterday on the show with Sam, brutal schedule plus like the worst timing with injuries and the suspension for Rashee Rice. It's like if the suspension was later on in the year, they'd feel a lot better about themselves. But yeah, like navigating this is with Tyquan Thornton as basically your number one weapon is little shaky for the Chiefs. Let's dive into some bets for this week. You're not too opinionated. I don't know if you're able to run your sim before you woke up, but I
did.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, you got some stuff. So let's talk through it. Where do you want to look first? How do you want to go about this?
Well, okay. So honestly, there's not. I just don't have a lot of. I think the market is mostly correct on a lot of these things. Like the only one jumping out to me now for division was really only the Chargers.
Okay.
I mean, I guess Lions to a plus 190. I don't mind, but nothing else like jumps out at me that I would want to. Okay. Lions at plus 190 and Seahawks at plus 700 are the only two things that I would actually consider betting. And of those two, I would only really want to bet Lions plus 190 because I still don't like backing Sam Darnold. I'm not a fan of him. Even though I know you like the Seahawks overall, but the Lions plus 190 is just like, look, I think people reacted to the Green Bay's beatdown of Detroit week 1 too much, and they're weighing too much in their mind. The Lions are still 2-1. The Packers, they have the same division and same record rather, and I'm not convinced the Lions are that much worse or even worse at all than the Packers. I would still make the Packers a slight favorite on a neutral, but I think the difference is very, very close. Like if it's when they play in Green Bay, I wouldn't make this past 3. So with that tight a schedule, if you're getting plus 190, I don't know. I'm just taking that.
All right, I love that. Yeah, no, great points there about this Lions team. I was definitely one of the people to overreact to this Green Bay team. If you remember, I think it was in week 1 or week 2. I was asking you about like how much you upgrading the Packers, and you said really you're not. And I think I was too low on the Lions and too high on the Packers. I mean, their trenches looked incredible last night, which was what I was worried about with this Lions team. The right side, especially Sewell and Tate Ratledge, both looked really strong, albeit like obviously against a slightly injured defensive line unit for the Ravens. But they looked really good, and that was my main thesis behind this Lions team is that I don't know if this offensive line is going to hold up this year, but they're proving me wrong. They're definitely proving me wrong. So Lions plus 190. I like that. Why can't I convince you on the Seahawks here? Why are you so hesitant? Is it because you're not showing a sizable enough edge? The Rams defense looked pretty good in the first half, and I thought for the first 2 weeks as well. But then they kind of got carved up by the Eagles once they started pressing. Maybe the Rams defense I thought they were legit. They might be a little bit more fake than I realized. San Francisco, not in the best position with the amount of injuries they have. Mac Jones leading the way for them. Got a very lucky win against the Arizona Cardinals. Felt like the Cardinals probably should have won that game, but that was obviously a massive swing for the NFC West. Why are you against Seattle here?
Well, honestly, like I would rather play conference so that you can get division at 7-1, which I do. Like I make it about 556 fair, and then conference at 27-1, I make it 21-1 fair. Those are the two probably next best bets that I would make, and the only bets I would consider making. What I really want to see to get like more like proof is this price versus Arizona. I want to know what the market thinks of Seattle at Arizona. If Seattle takes money and gets to like even -1, right now it's about a pick 'em. I am much more inclined to bet the conference. I don't think the future will react to that, even though they should, because clearly the market is saying, hey, the Seahawks are slightly and noticeably better to be favored on away turf. So if Arizona takes money, then I wouldn't bet it. So kind of it depends what will happen from now until Thursday. And if it stays at a pick 'em, I wouldn't mind it if you really like the Seahawks and you believe Sam Darnold. I just don't believe in Sam Darnold, so I would kind of think that maybe my sim is wrong here in some regard. And that's the only reason why I wouldn't want to pass him, because I don't like to back Sam Darnold that much.
Fair. That's a fair point there. I'm just curious one more thing about this Seattle Arizona game. You're kind of using it as I don't want to say a derivative of of like what you expect the future market to be, but like, don't you think that, like, I assume you bake this in, but like Julian Love potentially not playing, like Leonard Williams coming in potentially hurt, limited participant this week. Devin Witherspoon's out last week, another limited participant in practice this week. Having those injuries, don't you think that that's like slightly favorite factor into line? And if those guys were fully healthy, it might move out. It might make that move that you were looking for. Is that a factor?
Yeah, no. I mean, it certainly is, but of course, it's just like, it's just like baked in. Like we kind of like. I'm just like looking at like they're worth some amount of points, but I want Seattle to be sizably better than the Cardinals to really feel comfortable with that bet, because they're still going to be the second or third best team, likely just the second or third best team in the division, because obviously the Rams and Niners are considered better by market. So if they're too close to Arizona, I just don't see how you can only be getting 7-1.
Okay, I got it. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, sharing that little bit there. I'm gonna, like for our futures portfolio that we're building out for you, I'm just gonna lock in that plus 700 for you on the Seattle Seahawks. So it's gonna be like a group decision, and then like if I'm wrong, or if we're wrong, it's your fault. But if we're right, it's on me. So I want all the credit for it. Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about some awards markets here, because I'm a little opinionated on this stuff. GRP gave it. I heard GRP is trying to like go head to head with the show right now, giving out his futures that he likes, updating his futures board live right as we went to air. All right. But I want to talk Coach of the Year, because there's two bets that GRP made on Dan Campbell. I believe it was 22-1 earlier in the season, and then Sean McDermott at 40-1. What would both of those guys need to do to win? Because Dan Campbell had like an incredible year last year. I believe they were like 15-2, didn't win the award. McDermott, let's talk Dan Campbell first, then we'll get on Sean McDermott, because I want to talk a little bit more about him.
So unfortunately for both of those, to me, it's more of not what they need to do. It's more of what other coaches need not to do. Because if the Patriots go out and make the playoffs, Mike Vrabel is just going to be massive. Same with like Ben Johnson. If the Bears go out and make the playoffs, those guys are going to be so massive favorites to win the Coach of the Year award. It's going to be very difficult. And I'm not even joking when I say this. The fact that Dan Campbell already has a loss is just tough to win the award. I mean, they won 15 games last year, 14 games last year. And he didn't even win the award. So like, what are we? If he goes 16-1 and Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel make the playoffs, I just think they're going to give it to them. So it's really like, okay, they need to not make the playoffs. That's most important there. And then I guess also like Shane Steichen better hope, like you better hope that like he's obviously should be the favorite. You better hope that Daniel Jones turns into a pumpkin again, because if they make the playoffs, or if the Colts win the division and go 11-6, even if Dan Campbell goes 16-1, I just think you're going to be hard pressed to give the award to Shane Steichen, and it's going to be really, really tough for Dan Campbell to make it. That being said, if he doesn't win at least 14 games, I think he's already dead for the award. Yeah. I would just be shocked if he wins it at 13-4, because unless all those other teams brick out, and that's going to be really, one of them is so likely to do something good. If he has 14-3, if 14 wins, 15 wins, 16 wins, okay, then maybe he can threaten them if they do make the playoffs, or Shane Steichen does go 11-6 or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I think I agree with you on Dan Campbell. You're having that loss this early is also very tough. Plus, like the schedule that they play is very, very tough. Like obviously their division is tough. They have a tougher schedule this year, but I want to touch on Sean McDermott, because I know you were mostly talking about Dan Campbell there. You're saying that like he would need to win almost every single game to win the award. There is a likely scenario where the Buffalo Bills go, I don't want to say likely scenario, but based off their schedule, the Bills have one of the easy schedules in the NFL. So there's a path for them to going undefeated this year. Their toughest game might be the one where they have KC at home in the coming weeks. If Sean McDermott is able to go undefeated with these Buffalo Bills, Is that someone who can threaten a Shane Steichen, even though Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones looks really good? A Mike Vrabel with the Patriots team that makes the playoffs, a Ben Johnson team that makes the playoffs. Is going undefeated enough to threaten that and to win the award, or would we need these guys to still bottom out and Sean McDermott to win?
Okay, I mean, I think that's like a ridiculous. Like first of all, I only make them like about 57-1 to go undefeated.
Okay,
but if they do go undefeated, I would be shocked if anyone else. I mean, if they go undefeated, Sean McDermott should be an absolute lock.
Okay,
I would make him like minus 100,000 to win Coach of the Year. If you go undefeated, you win the award. I think it's just as simple as that. It doesn't really matter what anyone else does. Even if like Shane Steichen goes like 15-2, you went undefeated. You have to win the award. I would be shocked if any other one else did it. Now the real question is, if the Bills go 16-1 or 15-2, is that enough to win the award? And again, if Sean McDermott's sitting there at 15-2 with a damn good year, or maybe their extra loss was like them resting Josh Allen in Week 18. Man, if Shane Steichen again is 10-7, 11-6, and wins the division, I think Shane Steichen is the favorite to win the award. So it's going to be really, really tough. And I think for Sean McDermott, it matters more what the defense looks like. And the defense does not look that good. Like, I'm more impressed with like Josh Allen basically doing everything by himself and dominating. And James Cooks looks good and whatnot. No one's talking about this Bills defense. If this Bills defense doesn't start turning it around ASAP, I just don't think there's a realistic path other than Sean McDermott going 17-0 to winning Coach of the Year. So I still don't like the price.
Okay.
And market. I would need well above 50-1 to want to consider making this bet.
Okay, and also I talked about this with Rob on our live watch along last night. You're almost better off maybe just rolling over money line, like rolling over Bill's money line each week if you think that the case for Sean McDermott is that he has to go undefeated to win. You might I haven't priced it out, but I would assume that it's probably better than 22-1 if you do that.
Absolutely. I mean, I would rather bet an undefeated team or whatnot. And then I see in the chat I think Shane Steichen deserves to be the favorite. I forget what was the price in FanDuel again?
380, I believe.
That's pretty low. I mean, I think it's probably pretty fair to be honest with you. I mean, I would make him and Jim Harbaugh rather the clear favorites. I don't really agree with the market there. I think if you could fight a 5-1 on Shane Steichen, I would probably snag it. But 380 seems pretty reasonable to me.
All right, Flip, I have to let you go right here. But before I do, just quickly, before I let you out the door, I have one bet that I'm pretty opinionated on that I want to talk about. It's a super long shot for Offensive Player of the Year. Just give me thumbs up or thumbs down on it. Baker Mayfield is at the back of the board at 150-1. This team is absolutely decimated. I don't think he has a chance to win MVP because of how good Lamar and Josh Allen are. And even Justin Herbert, I'll throw him in there. Feels like a 3-horse race, and I know it's super early in the season. But if Baker Mayfield can put up the numbers similar to what he did last year, 4,500 yards, 35, 40 touchdowns, and this team wins the division, is he live for Offensive Player of the Year?
Nope. If you don't win MVP, you can't win
thumbs down there, Jason.
Quarterback.
Okay. All right. It's tough. I was just thinking because of the amount of injuries they've sustained this year. He's looked really good to start. All right. Maybe the thumbs down. It is. We won't add it to the futures board. Flop, I appreciate you joining. If you're still a little tired, maybe you can go take a nap after this show, and we'll talk next week. All right. See ya, Flop. One's in the chat for Flop, always sharing some good knowledge there. And one's in the chat if you like the Seahawks, because I know I do. Let me just drop a one in there for the chat. There we go. We're going to bring on Kirk Evans shortly. But before we do that, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors over at FanDuel. Football fans, this NFL season, you can call your own audibles with Your Way exclusively on FanDuel. Your Way gives you the power to adjust lines, customize player props, and create bets you can't find anywhere else for a game-changing experience. So whether you want to bet on how many passing yards, rushing yards, even touchdowns, you set the line and you get the new odds instantly. Plus, with Your Way, you can even make head-to-head bets by position or player. However you want to play, FanDuel is your go-to app for any snap. Just visit FanDuel.com/forward progress to get in on the action. That's FanDuel.com/forward progress to bet your way. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, 19 plus and physically located in Ontario, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/John Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpline.ma.org, or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE NY in New York. Call Connex Ontario 1-866-531-2600, or visit connexontario.ca. Breeze through that one. That was solid. Also, if you haven't tried out FanDuel your way, it's actually relatively very good product. I'm a big fan of hitting my inverse correlation under receptions over yards. And you know what? Oftentimes the guys I like are set at like 1.5, 2.5 receptions. Gives me a little bit more wiggle room to play with some inverse correlation there. Yeah, check out your way on FanDuel, FanDuel.com/forward progress. All right, let's bring on Kirk Evans now. He's a seasoned basketball bettor, as seen live on the Monday edition of Circle Back. And to give him credit, he might be right about the Green Bay Packers. Kirk, how's it going?
I like how your opinion changes like every 2 minutes.
What
They lose one game, now I'm right about the Packers.
No, well, you know what? Listen, I gave you flack last week, so I want to give you credit this week. I'm like going back and forth. If you want, I could give you flack about the New York Liberty. Do you want me to do that instead?
I didn't understand what that comment was. I don't have any bets on the New York Liberty. I was cheering extremely hard for Phoenix.
Did you know? Am I? Listen, chat. Maybe you can help me. Am I misremembering you saying if
Stewie
plays, you like their futures? And I clicked, and she played. She played, and then I clicked.
I guess. All right. I don't even. I guess so. That was a pretty it was pretty logical. Like
you're flustered. It's okay.
Of advice. Like I wasn't like some big Liberty future holder. I didn't even have the bet.
Wow. All right. Well, you're exposing yourself here on the show. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just razzing you a little bit. I would say we're friends, so I'm going to do this stuff with you. Just like how Jeff Feinberg, I don't know if you watched the show last night, ran me over with a car, then backed up and ran me over again, just ripping on me the whole time. But it is what it is. We're going to talk WNBA stuff. But before we do, I want to have a quick little NBA discussion. You wanted to specifically talk about the MVP award. So, I mean, the floor is yours. Share your opinions. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty interesting market this year. I think Jokic and Shea hold like 80% of the equity, honestly. I think I probably am a bit lower on Luka than market. I think Luka, like every year we kind of do with Luka. He has a chance to win. He puts up crazy stats, but he gets hurt. He takes some time off, take some time off with injury, or he just stops trying for a few weeks. The vibes for the Lakers are, to me, just okay. So I think I've been kind of pretty consistent that Luka's overpriced in this market for the last 3 years. And I kind of think that again. And then I think the long shot or medium long shot is Wemby, who there's a lot of reasons why Wemby won't win this award, but at the same time, he might be the greatest player in basketball history, and if he is that, then he could definitely win. I'm actually live reacting to the MVP because I'm not sure if I checked it out on FanDuel. I did not realize the odds were plus 150 for Shea.
Yeah, plus 150 for Shea, Jokic plus 350, Doncic plus 380. You mentioned Victor Wembanyama, 12-1. Let's talk through Wembanyama and let's talk through this award a little bit. Is it kind of similar to the NFL MVP where it's almost like a pseudo team wins award? Your team has to win a ton of games, be one of the top two in their conference for you to even have a shot at this award? Or is there potential for a player whose team lands in that 4, 5, 6 spot to win?
So I wouldn't say it's a hard and fast rule. I would say that's probably more strict in the NFL, but it's pretty similar. Unless no one else really has really tier 1 MVP season. And then like Westbrook won it. I think they were the 6th seed. But definitely the vast majority of the time you're going to be the 1 or 2 seed in your conference. So yeah, Wemby, the nice thing is obviously if he is actually just the best player in the league, they're going to win a lot of games. I'm not sure I'm convinced that that's what's going to happen, but I'm a company man, so I won't say look for better prices elsewhere. But if you got really long odds, I think he holds more than 7-8% equity in the market with just potential to be the best player to ever play basketball.
All right, I love that. I love how you said I'm not going to say it, but you ended up saying it anyways. That was a weird.
I didn't say it.
You did.
I didn't say it. I would also never say that there are better prices for Shea and Market and maybe consider those prices.
Right.
I would not say that.
Good tap dancing there. I have a question for you about a little bit further back on the board here. Kevin Durant, 50-1. Any opinions on that? I was talking to Jacob a little bit about this before the show. He seemed to like it. If there was a number on the board that he would click. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Jacob. Would you consider
of
clicking?
the players on that list, the one I was most interested in was definitely Kevin Durant.
All right, so Kevin Durant, 50-1. Talk us through it, Kirk.
My opinion is that bet is ever so slightly better than Baker Mayfield, Offensive Player of the Year, which is terrible.
All right. Well, you know what? You got to sometimes swing for the fences, and if you really want to take some terrible bets,
let me say my reasoning. So obviously the biggest factor is health. Kevin Durant's got to play enough games to get there, but I think the Lakers are overrated, and I think that the Rockets are very realistically a top 3 seed, and if the season goes well enough for Kevin Durant to win MVP, he's a top 2 seed, and if Kevin Durant helps keep the Rockets as that high of a seed, I think he's absolutely in the conversation. So 50-1 to me seems a little bit further than what I think it could be.
Kirk, you good with that? Any response to that? The case? No?
I just don't even think Kevin Durant's anywhere close to an MVP level player at this point. I just pulled it up. He's received MVP votes 2 of the last 7 years, where he was 9th in MVP and 10th in MVP. He's just not in the same stratosphere as Jokic or Shea, and he's only 50-1. If we want to run through some long shots, I could go through a couple that I don't think are good, but that are better than Durant at 50.
Just rattle them off quickly.
Donovan Mitchell at 80. I would definitely. This is just to be clear. This is better than Durant at 50-1 in my opinion. I wouldn't bet these.
Okay.
Mitchell at 80-1. Embiid at 150, but he's not gonna win. And then the long shot that I honestly think is good at 350-1, but it's 350-1 is Kawhi, who remains an unbelievably good player when he's on the floor, and if he gets some injury luck, he is probably around a top 5 player when he's healthy. So if he kind of had the perfect season, the Clippers I'm quite high on win 63 games, and for whatever reason Shea and Jokic missed time, I could see it. Again, it's 350-1, but that's one I would at least consider.
Is that baking in a potential suspension for him based on this Pablo Torre?
He's not getting suspended, man.
I think he might get suspended next season.
Okay.
They seem to not want to suspend him right now.
Yeah, wait until after the All-Star game in the Clippers arena. All right, let's talk some WNBA stuff here. I'm just feeling my forehead. I think I might have a little bit of Cinderella fever. Do you feel the same way about this Fever team? They're playing the Aces tonight. Kelsey Mitchell in game 1 dropped in a 34 burger, leading them to a game 1 victory. What are your thoughts on this Fever Aces game, and do you have a little bit of the Indiana Fever?
I actually have a very big position on Vegas tonight.
Okay.
Company man. I actually still would bet this at -8.5 on FanDuel. That line is not available anywhere else on the market.
Okay.
I imagine the limits are honestly pretty big right now. So yeah, I would take that 8.5 minus 112 on FanDuel right now. Look, the Fever could win the series. Don't get me wrong, but I just 8.5 is too cheap. They closed, I think, 9 last game. Now this is essentially a must-win. You know, Vegas pretty much cannot lose this game. They can't go down 0-2 going into Indiana. So I think there's a lot of zigzag here that's not really being accounted for. So Aces minus 8.5. I don't know if we have official bets here, but official bet.
All right, locked it in. Yeah, I'm putting it beside Kawhi Leonard, 350 to 1 to win MVP, and Donovan Mitchell 80 to 1.
No,
I'm kidding. But yeah, they're taking around to win $4,000 on 4,000 Canadian at minus 112 at minus 8.5, depending on your account, of course. And it just moved to 115. Good job, Kirk. People respect you. I don't, but people do. Let's talk Mercury and Lynx. You talked a little bit about how you felt like the zigzag wasn't being priced in enough on some of these games. Lynx -7 right now, minus 112 on the spread. Totals at 158.5. Do you like the look there? Do you feel like that spread is in the correct spot in terms of the zigzag, or do you maybe like slightly lean towards the Mercury at 7?
No, I've got no position here.
Okay.
I think this is priced pretty well. I really am cheering for Phoenix, so I hope they win. That's the team I have a very big future position on. They were up 7.5 last game and lost. I think this is going to be a competitive series. I think this will be a good game, but I think that this is a pretty fair price.
Okay. Chat is asking if you have any finals MVP. Oh, I don't know if that was for NFL or WNBA, but let's just do for the WNBA. Any finals MVP looks for the WNBA?
Let me take a look at the odds.
I can just quickly rattle it off.
The question was for NBA, by the way.
It was for NBA?
That was the timing, yeah.
Well.
For NBA?
All right.
Okay, we can do NBA. I would rather that because WNBA is honestly not interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be Fee, Asia, or Alyssa Thomas, and then if the Fever end up winning, it'll probably be Mitchell, maybe Leah Boston, but that's not that interesting. All right, finals MVP.
Go ahead, Kirk, but it was for WNBA.
Oh my god.
It was for WNBA. Okay.
But you answered but you did it. You did answer
WNBA, it's going to be like pretty much if you want to take one of those teams, probably just take
their best player.
Yeah. Like I don't really think that like Fee lock, Asia will be a lock if those are the teams that win, and then Phoenix maybe, but I honestly think Alyssa is just would very much win it.
Okay. All right. Let's rattle off some NBA Finals MVP as well. While we have you here.
So this is not really something I've looked at too much, but I'm a big fan of Cleveland, as you guys know.
Of course. So,
Donovan Mitchell at plus 950, I probably would just rather take Cleveland to win the championship, but Mobley at 30 to 1 is a bit interesting because you get some nice correlation between like if the Cavs make it to the finals, Mobley could have easily taken another leap. So, I wouldn't say I'm going to click it, but like definitely something I would consider. And then once again, I think the league would hate it, but I don't hate Kawhi 25 to 1, honestly, that's not very interesting to me. But Ivica Zubac, who is the most underrated player in the NBA right now and is a true all-star level, maybe all-NBA level player at this point, 175 to 1. The guy is unbelievable. And I think the Clippers are due for a spectacular year. So, I wouldn't hate it.
All right, Jacob, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, that one I'm struggling with. The other one's okay. This one, I'm struggling.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
I agree that
it's pretty tough for him to actually win, but he is just really good.
I
think the Clippers are alive.
I agree he is criminally underrated, but I don't think this is the market to exploit that.
Yeah, it'd be tough for him to win. That's a fair point.
All right. Well, Kirk, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you sharing your knowledge here. Appreciate you giving out that the Aces minus 8.5 right there live on the show. Hopefully, some people in the chat got it. One in the chat, if you were able to scoop that up. Kirk, I think you'll be back next week, so we'll talk next week. Or we'll see you Monday live on circle back. So, Kirk, thank you for joining us. We'll see you on Monday.
Absolutely. Later, guys.
All right. See you, Kirk. Good stuff there from Kirk Evans. Always a good time. Always a good time on the show. And you know what? He lets me make fun of him a little bit, which not a lot of people at the network let me do. It's usually the other way around. So it's fun to kind of reverse that. Anyways, Rob's going to be coming on in just a second here. Before we do that, quick reminder, if you want to fire off some week 4 bets, we've got our Tuesday Best Bets show. It's at 6 p.m. Eastern this week. Judah is being replaced by Austin. It's a holiday for him, so he's going to take the day off. And it's going to be Flup. Hopefully he doesn't sleep through it. And George, Flup, and Austin breaking down some week 4 bets. Again, it's today, 6 p.m. Eastern on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. All right, let's bring up Rob Pizzola here. He's the CEO of the Hammer Value Network. You've seen him on the Circles Off YouTube channel. And we had a great time last night on the watch along, even though we lost some bets. Rob, how's it going?
It's going okay. Wasn't too bad last night. I think, we had some good sweats. I just don't like, there's so much pressure now to hit these anytime touchdown scores. And when they don't hit, kind of feel like a piece of shit.
The first one after you win a big one, when everyone comes back for the next one, there's a lot of pressure on that.
Yeah. Well, I've had like 3 big ones in a row. So it's now, I don't know. It's just setting this expectation that is maybe very unrealistic. But overall, it was a good stream. It was a good game last night. Very entertaining.
Great game, great stream. And I'm just rechecking my Betstamp account. I messed up. I marked down Rashad Bateman as a loss, but I had to mark it as a win because he did end up winning, and it worked out, and it flipped the night for me. So,
for those that don't know and they didn't catch a stream last night, it's a very professional move I'm going to let you in on here. This is how the pro bettors do it. When you're losing a bet in the early going and it looks like it's cooked, even though it still might have a chance, you just put a loss in your spreadsheet, in your Betstamp account, whatever you're going to do, just mark it a loss. Give it an X next to it. You convince yourself that it's already lost. That way, later in the game, if it loses, you're like, all right, I accepted the L early, but if it wins, man, you get a big dopamine hit from that. Like it's almost like you won 2 bets when that happens. So that's what the pros do, Jason.
There we go. We're bringing back plus EV moves of the week. That's good to see. Also, quickly, very disappointed with the chat right now. We need a couple more likes on stream. Rob, maybe you can give me a thumbs up and help promote that for us here.
You need me to give a thumbs up? This is what the icon looks like.
Yeah, and then you click it. All right, let's get into some Week 4 line movement. Game I want to start off with this Seattle-Arizona game. We talked a little bit about it with Flup here. Sunday reset chat, by the way, super sharp. They kind of predicted this line move where Seattle got bet out a little bit, and some of the sharp books have now flipped where it's essentially a pick 'em, but slightly more juice towards Seattle than Arizona. Any strong opinion here on this game in particular in this move?
No, I understand why, right? And I think a lot of our community members, the nails as we call them, from the Sunday reset, had this pegged correctly. When you just look at the 2 portfolios side by side for this year, Seattle's played pretty good football, whereas Arizona just hasn't yet. You look at Arizona against that San Fran defense this week, 4.1 yards per play. The offense just doesn't seem to have it, especially in the running game, which they had last year. So it's not surprising to me to see the Seattle money. My opinion was just that this game kind of has to be around a pick 'em, and I don't have a strong feel one way or another. But if you were to just look at the resume so far this year, Seattle, especially defensively, looks like the real deal. And if they could get anything out of the offense, that's a big plus. So not surprised to see it. I don't think I'm going to have anything on this game, to be completely honest with you. But from a pure EPA success rate perspective, offensively, defensively, Seattle, as of now, 3-week sample, very small, does look like the better team.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. I think the Arizona offense I think we came in a little too high on them on the season. I don't think Drew Petzig's been that good or that creative as an offensive coordinator. Yeah, he's been really left a lot to be desired when you have a lot of talent on that offense. Mind you, also Marvin Harrison Jr. has been playing bad. Just doesn't seem like things are going right for this offense, but this might be a get-right spot for them. We'll see. Divisional game could be interesting. Let's move on to the Sunday morning game, the international game. Vikings facing off against the Steelers. We saw some Vikings money yesterday morning in agreement with that move. And what was your opinion on Carson Wentz, who, by the way, last week we talked about him a little bit. Is he maybe a little bit better than JJ McCarthy in your opinion right now, or no? You're still against me on that.
Okay, so first and foremost, like the line move was a service play release from someone who rhymes with Pitman. That happened yesterday morning as well. I want to say I screwed this up big time on Sunday night. I completely forgot Jordan Addison's suspension is going to be over, and he'll be back for this game as well. And that's a big upgrade for the Minnesota offense. So you couple in that return and the Vikings being fairly healthy now, having gotten Harrison Smith back, Van Ginkel back last week, with Pittsburgh still being pretty decimated on the defensive side of the ball. Who knows if Joey Porter Jr. is going to even play this week. And it makes a little bit more sense to me now there. On the Carson Wentz front, I think we have a pretty large sample of what Carson Wentz is at this point. Maybe someone can make the argument that Kevin O'Connell can extract more out of him than previous head coaches. I don't know. I think the issue with Wentz I've had for several years now is he makes a lot of boneheaded plays, he thinks he's Patrick Mahomes basically every now and then. He's about to take a sack. He's flipping a ball up into the air and stuff like that. He has the weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, he should be able to excel in this offense. But, I'm a firm believer that in the NFL, coaches, especially like every win is so valuable. And to me, I think if Kevin O'Connell truly thought that Carson Wentz was an upgrade over J.J. McCarthy, he would have just started him to start the year. I mean, it's a very easy narrative to sell to the press where it's like, we just want to get our, JJ back up to speed, watch a veteran in the mix, almost like what the Giants have done with Russ and Jackson Dart. They didn't do that. So to me, I'm a big believer in like teams will put who they think are the best players on the field at all times. And that's kind of my argument in like against Carson Wentz. With that said, played a really good game. That game was they completely railroaded the Bengals. I'd like to see what things look like when it's a little bit closer and he has to do a little bit more. There's a little bit more pressure on him, but understand the move towards Minnesota here. And then when you parse in all the information and Addison being back.
All right. I think that's a great answer there. Let's flip over and talk the Tennessee-Houston game because you remember that you mentioned that Pittman guy. It seems like there is a little bit of a war on that game. Pittman versus the three-letter service. Which side do you agree with the most, or do you feel like this number, like the back and forth, it's in the right spot now? You're kind of laying off it, Tennessee, Houston.
Well, I talked about this on Sunday Reset as well. I think the Titans are a really tough team to back because Callahan is a disaster. Now he's turning over play calling duties this week, which is, in my opinion, big upgrade. But ultimately, getting that 7.5 to me was really valuable. Like at 7, I can understand why someone would like Houston there, or they would just want to lay off Tennessee. But when you have an offense that is underperforming at the level that the Texans offense is underperforming at this year, it's really challenging to lay this type of number with them. And last week was the week where everyone's like, okay, maybe this is the week that they're going to get it together. Their center's back. Christian Kirk is back in the mix. They look just as bad as ever against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. So personally, I'd rather be on the Titans side in this game, but I can see the battles going back and forth for sure. The Titans just never cover spreads. The offense, listen, Cam Ward has some plays where he shows what the ceiling is, but overall their success rate is just so bad as an offense. They can't string good plays together. I get why there's conflicting opinions in the market on this particular game, but for me, this is one where it would be Titans or nothing.
Yeah, another offensive coordinator leaving a lot to be desired on the board there, and you gotta wonder with this Houston team how much of the blame is going to fall on D'Amico Ryans here. Like he is in at the end of the day responsible for hiring these offensive coordinators and building out this coaching staff. And I mean, just Nick Cali just isn't it, man. Like 3 weeks in, we already know he isn't it, and it's like the same song and dance as last year. It's like why is this offense not humming? They should be able to with the pieces that they have. But it's just very, very sad offensive production from those teams. Another team that I was kind of down on in terms of offensive production is this Philadelphia team. And then the second half hit of this Rams game, and they were like, all right, finally, we get to see them push the ball downfield. And I don't know what the reason is why they weren't willing to do that in other games. Maybe it's just they were ahead. They were confident enough to win those games. But Eagles look good when they press the ball downfield. Now, we got some under money in, though, on the Eagles team. And against Tampa Bay, we got Eagles money as well. I get why Tampa Bay 4 or 5 offensive linemen hurt. Maybe Tristan Wirfs is back. But do you feel like this maybe number has gone out too far on the Eagles and there's going to be some buyback at some point this week?
So this was another contentious one on Sunday night when we were chatting with the chat, and my opinion was always that it's more likely to go out towards the Eagles because of all the injury uncertainty on the Tampa Bay side, right? Yeah, they might get Wirfs and Godwin back this week. I think that they probably will, but who knows what their level is like in the first game back. And even with those, I mean, they lose Mike Evans. They're still down 3 other offensive linemen, right? There's not that uncertainty on the Eagles side, right? Lane Johnson was the big one for them, but it seems like he's going to be totally fine. He just had a stinger. So absolutely not surprising at all. Now the total moved pretty substantially, right? Like 45.5 down below 44. It should be noted. And then there's no one with high limits on the totals right now. You're looking at maybe like 2,000 a pop. So even a $2,000 bet might move it an entire point. But regardless, it seems like so far, especially this NFL season, I mean, it kind of happens every year. The reaction to injuries in the previous week is really stemming like a lot of that early week line movement here. So that's why you see it. I do think, though, at some point in the week, there will be some buyback on the Bucs. There's going to be someone with interest at 3.5, in my opinion, on Tampa Bay. So I think this could be kind of like a dual type of battle where we start to see the numbers move back to what they were at open.
Yeah, this game to me screams like a maybe backdoor cover from Baker Mayfield with how the Eagles have played essentially in leading and neutral game scripts. Also, like, might be a factor. It's probably going to be a factor in this game, but like, I don't know if you're watching that Tampa Bay game. It was on one of my TVs this weekend. There were so many offensive holding calls in that game. The offensive line was a real factor there, but they were able to win it out.
Tampa had 14 penalties for 124 yards this week. It's like insane amount of penalties.
Screams offensive line cluster injury there. But yeah, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, maybe they'll catch some money later in the week. Let's keep it rolling here. The Carolina Fighting Eagles taking on the New England Patriots. Apparently, the market didn't really react to that win from Carolina last week, kind of beating the wheels off of the Falcons because we caught some New England money this week. New England deserved to win against the Steelers, ended up losing. But yeah, give me your opinions. Do you think this New England game has now gone out too far? I believe the number's at 5.5 right now, -110 both sides on FanDuel. You foreseeing maybe some buyback on Carolina, or is this going to probably situate around here?
I think this might be where this settles because we've seen 2 very clear resistance points or buy points. Early New England money. There were some sharp books that got out to 6 in this case, and they got bought back immediately on the Carolina Panthers. So I feel like if that were to happen again, you would just continue to get that same buyback on Carolina. So I think we're likely to settle in this 5.5 range as it stands right now. I don't know what to make of Carolina, to be honest with you, or New England for that matter. I think the biggest challenge I have with the Patriots is I'm not a big believer in the coaching staff. Okay. I think offensively, they could be a little bit more aggressive on early downs. I will say I do think it's kind of a sell on the Panthers defense, though, at this point. Like, to shut out the Falcons, I don't think that's going to be the Panthers defense moving forwards. I think this unit's going to struggle as the year goes on. So personally, I had a lot of interest in New England early as it stands right now. Listen, it's not 5 is no longer, totally dead, especially if you look at last year's numbers. So there is like a bit of a move here, but I can see very, very different opinions on this game. I do think it's ultimately going to settle in this range, though.
All right. I have you for a couple more minutes here. I'm going to cluster in a couple totals that moved. 3 of them ticked towards the over. The Colts, Rams, 48.5 moved up. It moved up to 48.5, -115 on FanDuel. Jags, Niners, 46.5 right now, -115, another move up on FanDuel. And then the Bears and the Raiders, again, 47.5, -115. We saw all those 3 games catch over money. And then the Green Bay Dallas game caught some under money. It's now 47.5, -106. Talk us through those and which ones you feel like we're going to see more movement on.
So the overs are not surprising, especially Colts and Rams. I mean, we're seeing some sharp books touch 50 right now. I think the Colts are really profiling as an over team as it stands, and they lost Kenny Moore due to injury last week. He had a pick 6 very early in the game. So you have Indy potentially without Kenny Moore, the Rams without their top corner, Ahkello Witherspoon, who's on IR. You could foresee points there. So that makes sense. Same with Bears and Raiders, right? I mean, both those defenses are not very good.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen the best of the Raiders offense yet, but I think I'm optimistic that can happen against this Bears defense this week. That one's not a surprise. I think the head scratcher for a lot of people will be like, how is a Dallas game being bet under right now? And that's purely injuries, right? Like that's CeeDee Lamb being out and Tyler Smith being out on the offensive line. You already have an interior lineman out for Cooper Beebe, the center for the Cowboys. Now you have 2 starters on the offensive line, which already wasn't great to come into the year. CeeDee Lamb, and against that Packers defensive front, that's why we've also seen money come in on the Packers as well, all the way up to a touchdown. So that one might be a head scratcher to some, but that's purely because of the Cowboys' injuries on offense.
Yeah. And then just quickly, the Jacksonville-San Fran game as well.
Yeah, that one is I don't really have a read yet because we're kind of waiting on the status of Brock Purdy for this week's game. We don't like the wide receiver room for the 49ers has been in shambles. Like we never know who's going to play in that particular game. So that's not one where I would personally be going out and betting early unless I had a really strong opinion that Purdy was going to be back in this week or that he wasn't. So I'm kind of surprised to see the amount of movement that we have so far on that game. That one's not one that I necessarily have a read on.
All right, last one before I let you out here. The Monday Night Football game, the second half of the doubleheader, the overlapping doubleheader, which you can catch on the Forward Progress HQ YouTube channel. We'll be doing a live watch along for both games overlapping. Going to be a lot of fun. Bengals at Broncos. Bengals, took a little bit of money here. They're sitting at this +7, -105. Deservedly so, or are you just completely out on Jake Browning?
No, I think this is very similar to the handicap for Texans and Titans. Personally, I grabbed some early Bengals in this game as well. And it's the Denver offense just seems broken right now. And it's not for lack of like scheme or getting receivers open. It's just the quarterback play. I mean, Bo Nix, as it stands right now, has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league so far this year. And it's another one of those situations where are you going to be comfortable laying more than a touchdown with a quarterback that's looked this poor over the course of the season? I mean, this is very similar, eerily similar to week 1 against the Titans as well, where you have like a significant mismatch, but the game is in the balance for the majority of the game because the Broncos can't consistently move the ball. So that was the interest for me in Cincinnati. I do think Browning is better than he played last week. I mean, the problem is he's also going to be playing a very good defense here. So you might get another bad performance, but Flores very much confused him and he couldn't throw downfield. His ADOT was extremely low and he still turned the ball over. So I'm not super optimistic there, but at the end of the day, the Bengals aren't the team that's laying a number here. They're the one that's just has to keep it close in some capacity or potentially win if it's an ugly game. And I thought the 7.5, the hook there was extremely valuable.
All right. Some news from the chat here. Apparently Jackson Dart is looking to start on Sunday versus the Chargers. Let's quickly break that down before I let you out here. Chargers right now -6.5, -105. It looks like we caught some 5.5. It wicked down to 5.5 on FanDuel, then instantly got back out to that 6.5 here. Any opinion on this, or is just so many question marks with Jackson Dart coming in?
So I will say I was monitoring this as it was happening live, and about 3/4 of the books pulled the line completely, and the other ones that were left open immediately got bet towards the Chargers. So that would indicate that someone who's betting thinks that Dart is a downgrade to Russ. And I know a lot of people will say, well, how is that possible? Russ stinks. I go back to the fact that they actually started Russ this year. So Brian Daboll thought that Russ gave him the better chance to win in the early going. I watched some Jackson Dart in preseason. I thought he made some good throws. I also thought for the vast majority of it, he didn't look very good. And I mean, there could be some growing pains in the early going here. In particular, this game, they're likely to be playing from behind against the Chargers. That's not necessarily where you want your rookie quarterback to be. So as it stands right now, 6.5 across the market is where we've settled at. But it should be noted that the people who have bet this game so far have bet it as if Jackson Dart is a downgrade for this particular game.
Quickly, I know you have to go here, but I just want to touch on the total of the game. Do you think this Jackson Dart coming in, rookie quarterback, playing his first game against a defense that's kind of like tenacious, does it kind of wide the range of outcomes towards the over a little bit? Do you think like where there's low maybe turnover variance or something along those lines?
Potentially, I just think it widens the range of outcomes as a whole.
General, okay.
So I think Russ, like the game against Dallas was an anomaly because the Cowboys defense is so bad. But Russ is pretty consistently bad, where you don't get a super wide range of outcomes. When you bring in someone where you don't know anything about it, Jackson Dart, like, listen, even people who watch ball in college, you really don't know what these players are going to be in the pros. I think that really it's very similar to Vikings, Bengals last week. Once you get backup quarterbacks, guys that have smaller samples, this is where alternate lines come into play. This is where, in my opinion, if you were to like the Giants, this is a game where I would definitely bet some Giants money line if I also like the spread, because I think there's just such a wide range of outcomes when you're guessing on what one of the quarterbacks is going to be in the game.
Yeah. All right. Great points there. Appreciate you sticking around for that Giants update. Rob, we'll talk to you soon, probably next Monday.
Yes. Sounds good. Thanks,
All right.
Jay.
See you, Rob. One's in the chat for Rob. Also, like the stream. Do us a favor. Goes a long way for us, because guess what? The show's over. It's done. Hope you guys enjoyed this entire show. If you stuck with us the entire way and you're new to the channel, that means you like our stuff a lot. So press that like button, and then also hit that subscribe button. And if you really like us, hit that notification bell to be notified every single time we go live. Even though we are live Monday to Friday, noon Eastern, it's always good to have that reminder. You never know. Maybe you're in a meeting and you get that reminder. You're like, oh shit, guys, I gotta go. Gotta watch the Hammer Daily. One's in the chat. We appreciate it. Tomorrow, we have a great cast guest. Before we talk about tomorrow, though, the Best Bets show is on at 6 p.m. Eastern today on Forward Progress HQ YouTube channel. Switched over from the 5 p.m. slot. And then we also have our Circle Back reactions video with Rob. Circles Off, sorry. Reaction video with Rob on the Circles Off YouTube channel. I'm curious to see what it is. Jacob refused to send it to me before it went out.
It's a good one, guys. Let's just say the most popular video on the Circles Off channel, that style, not the same person, but that style of video is coming back.
Yeah, I just heard you guys laughing the entire time when you were recording it when I was in the office.
Yeah,
so
it was funny.
Curious to see what that was. And then, of course, just previewing our watch along on Thursday on the Forward Progress HQ YouTube channel. Myself, George, Alex, live at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I believe Hitman will be with us, and I believe Jeff will be with us as well in the third and fourth quarter. Then finally, speaking of Jeff Feinberg, he's going to be coming on to talk Ryder Cup at 12:05 tomorrow. Got a great slate of guests. Jeff obviously coming on to talk Ryder Cup. Matt Freeman, Matt F. the Oracle on Twitter. We're going to be talking about some NFL player usage and player distribution. Really excited to talk about that. And then finally, to close out the show, Drew Dinsick, the guy with the best hair in the gambling industry, is going to be talking about walking through some of his week 4 NFL bets he made. And we'll get maybe a stronger, more of an opinion on these New York Giants. Quarterback change. Should be a good show. You're going to want to tune in. So make sure you do that live tomorrow at noon Eastern. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please do us a favor. Like the stream. And if you have any friends who like betting on sports, we're at 3,895 subscribers right now, actually. Wow, we're 5 subscribers away from 3,900. Mean a lot to us to get us there. So yeah, tell your friends about us. It goes a long way for us. For myself, for Jacob, you've been watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by FanDuel. We will see you guys tomorrow.